Thank you, Doc. So as Doc Cafino is sharing his email, the live question and answer will be proceeding now. I would like to ask the doctors, please be ready for the question and answer. And first, I would like to ask if we can upload your lectures, Doc Bundoc, Doc Grozman, and Doc Cafino to a drive to be shared later. Is that
Yes,
okay?
it's okay with us.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you po. Thank you po. Let me just manage the unmuting settings quickly for our audiences.
Team, I have my first question while you're unmuting everyone. I have my first question to Dr. Bundoc and to Dr. Grozman. I'm Archie Velasco from FabLab Mindanao here in the Mindanao State University-Iligan Institute of Technology. Being from Iligan City, doctors Bundoc and Grozman. For the past years, we were collaborating with Dr. Armando Isla here of Iligan Medical Society just to bring this technologies to the doctors. My question, Doc, is more of a practical, collaborative way because there seems to be a gap right now between what there's this group, there's this end of doctors who has knowledge and application on what 3D printers can be done. And then there's this Fab Labs, there's this 3D printing enthusiasts, there's this hobbyists, there's this Fab Lab people, 3D printing people who knows how to execute it. On our side din, Doc, we attempted here in MSU, in Mindanao State University, to bridge this gap together, yet we're having a hard time. maybe because of the availability of the doctors, maybe because of, can you give us specific practical advice, because Fab Labs are here, how to prioritize whether it should it be by discipline, because on our side we started with my kababata doctor, the wife of my kababata, Dr. Cafino, on head and neck surgery. Can you give an advice for Fab Labs and to those who want to connect to doctors? What are the things to be considered when a Fab Lab or a maker space wants to connect with doctors? Maybe you can give us a tip from your end.
Who goes first? Ako?
The practical, the practical tips.
I'll talk first, no? A while ago, before we started, I was in a private chat with Justin Gavitan, no, yung proprietor na, no, the one who's going to talk later, no. Justin and I, we have known each other for quite some time, since 2012, siguro 2013. He usually goes to the hospital trying to convince doctor and trying to show them his Ultimakers, yung kanyang form labs, no, and how to use it, no. And you can just imagine the frustration that he got through and he went through all throughout those times. Talagang lagi siyang barado. I guess he always goes home frustrated, no. And like what I was telling him sa chat box kanina, Justin, it took a pandemic for the people in the Philippines, or most Filipinos, to understand what a 3D printer is and for them to understand how useful it is. And I guess that statement is very true. For a very longest time, no, Stratasys, Omnilab, saka yung kay Justin, no, they have been trying to sell 3D printers. Even yung pagpunta nila sa DOST, malaking suntok sa buwan yun. Some people at DOST doesn't even know what a 3D printer at that time, no? Until slowly, nakikita mo sa pelikula and everything what a 3D printer is. And sa time that mabuti nga, talagang DOST took the lead into creating AMSEN, no? And now probably, after the pandemic, the rest, Justin might be doing more business with a lot of other people because some more people will be buying that, knowing what a 3D printer is. Now, going back to doctors, no, mayayabang ang doktor. They thought they know everything. Or we thought, or we think we know everything, no? The thing with us is that it's an individual kilite, no? For me, I love gizmos, no? I love quadcopters, I love 3D printers, I love electronic things, I love remote controls, no? Like what I told you in the lecture, when I first saw a 3D printer, the rapid prototypers sa Jurassic Park Jurassic Park 3. That was 2001. Hindi na ako makatulog noon eh. Talagang when I see an article about 3D printer, ginugupit ko yun, binabasa ko yun. I keep on surfing the web about 3D printer until one morning of 2012, while reading Bulletin Today, nakita ko someone was selling a 3D printer already in the Philippines, no? And right away, the following day, I went to the shop and I bought one. Doon nag-umpisa yung away namin ng asawa ko, kung out of the kulambunan because of that, no? So, a lot of, I'm surprised, a lot of doctors up to now, they don't know how 3D printer can help them in their practice. It's good that the young doctors now are doing that, no? Dr. Isda, Don Isda is my student in medical school. I'm very happy to connect with him right now. Payat pa rin, hindi tumabata-ba, no? And kalimutan niyo yung mga tatandang doktor. Wala kayong pag-asa doon. Kalimutan niyo kami. I'm 59, I'm old, no? But I'm techie. Forget about them. Connect with the younger ones. Your future are with the younger ones, no? Let them rot, no? Their practice probably is on the downside na, magre-retire na yan. Especially now with the pandemic, marami magre-retire na dyan. Start with the young doctors. The young doctors are the future of the country. They're the future of the technology. Don't stop working with them. No, take time to sit down with them and mesmerize them. No, like how I was mesmerized when I saw it in Jurassic Park 1. Like how I was mesmerized when I see it in other movies, in other conventions, in other exhibits. No, when Dr. Grozman speaks mamaya, we have a funny story. You know, sometime 2014. Naghanap si Dr. Grozman ng convention sa Singapore. No? Bumili kami ng ticket, nagpunta kami doon ni Dr. Grozman just to listen to the second Singapore Summit on 3D printing. No? And at that time, tuwan-tuwa kami ni Dr. Grozman kasi wala pang gumagawa ng templating and we were already starting to do templating. Lahat bugoy na bugoy pa, and that was Singapore. No? They had so many exhibitors. No? And we thought huling-huli na Pilipinas, but no, we're just in the same boat. I'm happy that our Fab Labs here are very, very active. Please continue to do so. Doctors are presented with the problems clinically. We are not experts in production and things like that. No? And you will be the guys who will be providing us with a solution. You have more time to think about how we can solve our problems, and please do that for us. I have a set of engineer friends. When I have a problem, I call them, no, and then we sit down, no, we do Zoom meetings, no, until we arrive at a solution. You are our friends. You are our partners here. Nobody else, no. Like I told you, mahiyabang ang doktor. They think they know everything. No, they don't know everything. No, we don't know everything. You know a lot, but you also don't know everything. The little that we know and the little that you know, when we put that together, it's a big knowledge already. No? And knowledge is nothing unless we put it into practical means. And when you put knowledge into practical means, that becomes wisdom. Let's work together to create that wisdom. Pasensyahan na lang. Tuloy-tuloy ang sundutan ng puwet, tuloy-tuloy ang sundutan sa noo, sa tenga. Okay? I'm happy that the Zamboanga group is a young, very young group, okay, and look at the way he presented. I'm very, very proud that a young ENT doctor in Zamboanga knows how to present very well, very commendable. Inggitin mo yung mga taga Maynila, no? Inggitin mo yung mga taga PGH. I have presented sa UP PGH ENT department twice on 3D printing. Walang takers, no? That's within my own university hospital. Walang takers, no? So your frustration is the same frustration I had. It's the same frustration that Justin Gabitan might be telling you later on, no? But ano yan eh? Passion. When you have the passion, we continue doing what we do. Nobody listens, so be it. But at the end, tayo ang may huling tawa, di ba? Tayong early adopters, tayong early innovators. Sila yung huli. Sisingilin natin sila na mas mahal. Ganun lang yon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. What about Dr. Sam? What's what's your practical advice other than focus on the younger doctors and the persistence that Dr. Bundoc has shared?
Okay, I think one of my other favorite books would be The Medici Effect. And this is where, when these different disciplines actually intersect, you actually have progress and innovation. One of the things that you have to look at would be right now, hindi na po early adopters ang gagamit ng 3D printer. Sasabay na lang sila eh. Late early adopters na sila. And now is the time to strike because after the COVID pandemic, a lot of people are now more aware of the capabilities of 3D printing. The biggest challenge before was that people were ignorant to what a 3D printer can do. So their dreams were limited. But now, ito po yung kabuluhan ng aking lecture. Sinabi ko sa inyo kung anong importance ng device na ito at ng technology na ito. Sana ho, ma-publish natin kung ano talaga yung importance niya and never stop trying. The second point that I would like to make is when we talk to consultants, it's not asking them what a 3D printer can do for you. You ask them what step of your surgery is your major problem right now. You look for problems that have an impact in their lives, and then you create the solutions for them. No, so this can be done by a 3D printer. This 3D printers are just one of the tools that you have available, but ito pwede itong gawin, ganyan, no? Or you can also look at the subspecialty that you're going to visit and look at the vast libraries that we have right now on Thingiverse. For example, you can see a lot of different applications to different devices, and you can actually just show it to them na, oo nga, no, pwede pala to. Make them dream. Make them realize that there are problems. Make them realize that the 3D printing can be the solution. That's it.
Thank you very much for that, Doctor. Kim, for the other questions, Kim, how many minutes do we have, Kim, for the questions? Maybe we can entertain 2 more questions?
Yes, sir. Right. So thank you, Doc Bundoc and Doc Grozman, for those for your sharing. No? I'd like to ask Ma'am Rian Gamboa. She says she's from Davao City, so I guess the question would be better for you, Sir Archie and Doc Cafino. Ma'am Gamboa.
Yeah, yes. My first question was, what kind of PLA or resin, the brand, are they using for medical? I don't think that just generic PLA will do. And then my second question is, not really a question, but more of signifying my intention. Like, I'm very interested in this field using AM for biomedical. So, and I am in Davao City. So, how can we forge tie-ups or how can we collaborate with medical people or those in the medical field if we're really interested here? Like, I'm not really looking at selling stage yet and more on collaboration, like working together. That's it.
Doctors Bundoc, Grozman, Cafino for the first question.
Regarding the material, yung PLA, ang daming products, kami ginagamit namin what works well with the 3D printer that we use. No? Usually may siyang partner, but there are many third-party materials. No? You can use PLA or ABS. I use ABS more because it's more sturdy. And for the modeling, you can use PLA, you can use ABS or any other product to say something that you don't put inside the body. None of the 3D printed products that we do are placed inside the body as of yet. Okay. The template that we use is a dental acrylic that can be placed inside the mouth, and when we place it in the spine, there for a very short period of time, only to be able to place the screws or to drill the guys that we do, But with the development of AMSEN, we're looking forward to their ceramics, to their PIC. Yung PIC is polyether ketone, and my friends, Ma'am Basilia, told me that they are going to start on that. We're excited about that because these are materials that when 3D printed, you can place inside the body. For anatomical modeling and for surgical templating, you can use PLA, whatever it is, no, whatever is available in Davao, okay, or acrylamyl butadiene styrate, no, which is ABS plastic. ABS plastic is very good because it's the plastic of Lego. The Lego toy that our children play is ABS plastic. It's very sturdy, no, talagang tatagal siya. Yung PLA maganda yan because if you leave PLA in a potted plant sa garden mo, after about 4 years, nagka-crumble siya because it's cornstarch based. No? So it's a bit biodegradable. ABS is not. No? And ang maganda sa dalawa, PLA and ABS, you can recycle it. No? Pwedeng durugin yon, and at Amsen or even probably in Zamboanga, they can melt it and then extrude it again into filaments to be used again and again and again. No? So yun ang maganda sa PLA, sa ABS, reusable siya. Okay.
Alright. Thank you.
For me, I think I would answer this question by asking you, what are you going to use it for? There are some advantages and disadvantages for each material. ABS, for example, melts with alcohol. So if you need to sterilize it with alcohol, obviously it will not be the best. If you plan to use it for high temperature sterilization, then maybe you have to look at other products that would have a higher melting point. Special mention to that polymaker GF, no, fiberglass, which is very, very good with regard to withstanding higher temperatures. You can also use the carbon fiber if you wish. But then again, at the end of the day, you look at what the application is for. If you need it to be biocompatible, you would have to research on your filament that you will be utilizing. But if you're going to subject them to higher temperature, maybe a high temperature device should be used. If you're using alcohol to clean it, then maybe you shouldn't use ABS. So there are a number of ways, no? In my day-to-day printing, I really like PLA. I really like using specifically the tough PLA because it's very easy to use and I don't have adhesion problems. But that's just my personal preference. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dr. Cafino?
Hi. So, hi ma'am. Good afternoon. Regarding I agree totally with Dr. Bundoc and Dr. Grozman. I use PLA on my day-to-day basis for models that only require templating. So we bend our plates, we use it as a template. However, when I use modeling I use the 3D model for surgery practice, I use PETG. It's easier to print than ABS. I have a problem with the fumes given off by ABS because I print in my room, so I cannot have ABS, the fumes inside the room. So I use PETG instead of ABS, but ABS would be better in terms of the quality and the quality of the model. So regarding the biocompatibility, there are a lot now. EEK for its high temperature. It can be, I think it can be sterilized in high temperature. And then of course, if we have a metal 3D printer, then of course titanium would be good. There are several composites now. I think there is PLA plus hydroxyapatite, PLA plus chitosan. These are the things that the biomedical community are working on. And these are very, very useful for those implants that will be placed inside the body and not just, and they would also incorporate with bone. So I'm pretty sure Dr. Grozman and Dr. Bundoc are familiar with this also. However, we do not have this yet in the Philippines. When the onset of AMSEN, we're really hoping that this could be brought into the Philippines and that it could be in use sometime soon. So thank you. And by the way, ma'am, if you would want to collaborate with us, you can contact us via our emails, or you could also leave your email so we could contact you for our biomedical treatment needs. Thank you.
And Ma'am Rian, to answer your second question, Ma'am Rian, thank you by the way, ma'am, for helping the Fab Lab in Davao by being one of the donors for the 3D printing on the face shields. We know that you're much involved, ma'am, in coordination with the one in USEP. And maybe for Dr. Bundoc and for Dr. Grozman, this July kasi, Ma'am Rian, we have next month we have a program in partnership with SPMC, with NMMC in Cagayan de Oro, SPMC in Davao, Mercy Medical Center here in Iligan City, and Zamboanga City Medical Center. We will be training 4 doctors members of the Philippine Society of Otorhinolaryngology Southern Mindanao, the Mindanao chapters, with the help of Dr. Cafino. So si Dr. Cafino is coordinating the head and neck surgeons of SPMC and MMC, Mercy Medical Center, and Zamboanga City Medical Center. Maybe Jeremiah can coordinate with you, ma'am, because we have right now one sino nga yung doctor trainee natin, Dr. Cafino in SPMC?
I think it's Dr. Toral.
Yes. And Dr. Toral and the Dr. Toral will be undergoing then a hands-on training on applications of 3D printing. So maybe you can join us, ma'am, on July. And hopefully we can have Dr. Bundoc and Dr. Grozman, if time will still allow, for future collaboration with this. We are starting with the head and neck surgery doctors Bundoc and Cafino and Grozman, because our Fab Lab in MSU-IIT have been working with Dr. Cafino for the past 2 or 3 years. Kaya that's what we are capitalizing on, as advised by Dr. Bundoc. Capitalize on those younger doctors who are innovating. So yun.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe one last question before just. Okay, we have a question, Kim. From Cebu Institute of Technology.
Sir Jordan. Sir Jordan, nice to meet you again. Sir Jordan, feel free to share your video and ask our doctors live.
Chris is with Cebu Institute of Technology Makerspace. Chris, are you there? So Chris is asking.
Siguro I'll just be reading it, Sir Archie, no? Only available on chat daw. Okay, it's okay, we understand, sir. So question po, do using these procedures or 3D printed technology make an impact on lowering producer cost incurred to the patient?
I'll try to answer that. No studies have been done yet, at least in the way we use it, kung bumababa yung gastos ng pasyente. One, we don't charge our patients for any 3D printed thing that we do. Bakit? Kasi ano yan it's not a protocol no? It's not the standard treatment of care. We just use it and utilize it to help us to do better surgeries. So you shouldn't be charging your patients for that. In any way, murang-mura lang naman yun The things that we print, they only cost something like at the most 500 pesos. No? It's the time that you spend digitalizing these things that cannot be translated to money. Pag siningin mo yung pasyente sa time spent mo, malaki yun, pero you should not do that as well. Okay. It's the passion for you to be able to do surgery. Now, does it lower the cost? Eto ngayon ang sagot ko doon. No? The way we do our surgical templating, we have less exposure sa aming surgical field. One, our time becomes shorter because it becomes easier. Okay, 2. And then because lesser exposure namin, saka less ang time namin sa surgery, less ang bleeding ng pasyente. So less ang exposure ng pasyente sa atmosphere habang opera namin, so the chances of infection becomes lower. Okay? So all of this will translate to something really big. Number 1, pag ang pasyente nagkaroon ng infection after surgery, Diyos ko, ang laking gasto sa pasyente nun The antibiotics that you will have to take for the next 6 weeks because of the infection after surgery, because of a prolonged surgery or too big an incision or nagka-loko-loko surgery because you did not plan it very well, no? Will translate to so much money or costs from the hospital or from the healthcare provider. So I believe that the future of 3D printing is really lowering the cost of medical care because it will lessen the morbidity or the complications, because when we open up our patients, before we open up our patients, we have studied our cases very well. Talagang alam na namin. Especially for us spine surgery, even before we open up the patient, napaglaruan na namin yung spine nila sa kamay namin Natiknan na namin mabuti. We have planned our surgery very well. Si Dr. Cafino, no? For you to bend those titanium plates in the mandible without a template, it will take you something like an hour intraoperatively to come up with a nicely bent plate. In his case, bago niya buksan yung pasyente, naka-bend na yun. So that's 1 hour less already of his surgery. And that means a lot. Blood loss, exposure, and infection. So does it lower the cost for the patient? I think yes. Though we have not monetized it, di ba? Kasi mas maganda yung study if you can actually translate it into pesos eh. But at this point in time, just listening to what I said, I think you will have an idea that the answer is yes. Though we could not translate it into actual pesos. Thank you very much.
Dr. Cafino, by experience, thank you very much for that, Dr. Bundoc. Very practical and long-term total cost. Dr. Cafino, by experience.
Thank you. Yes, as said by Dr. Bundoc, there really actually isn't a study yet regarding the cost. But the shortening the time of the patient in the operating room means a lot. Exposure to anesthesia and risk for infection, not to mention the costs incurred by the anesthesia, the time you spend in the operating room, antibiotics that you need to use after. All of this is shortened by what you have done by preparing prior. So in the case of Dr. Bundoc, when they presented the template where they they drill the hole and insert their pins into the cervical spine, that is nothing short of amazing. That would take a long time before you would be able to perfect that. But with templates, you can just plug and play. It's almost like a USB. I know it's more complicated than that, but for surgeons, that's a big thing. And that practically reduces the OR time. So I think for me, yes, I think it would reduce the cost. There would be a need though to make a study on it to make it official. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Bundoc.
And then, just for the benefit of all our audiences, necessity is always the mother of all inventions, di ba? Kaming mga doktor, we encounter problems either sa clinics, sa wards, especially sa operating room. And then, we have a saying your mistake is your best teacher. So pag nagkaroon ka ng pagkakamali sa operating room, sa ward, sa clinic, you should not be repeating that anymore. The next thing that you have to do is to find a friend in a fab lab who can provide you with a solution to your problem. During the pandemic, nagkaloko-loko tayo nun di ba? In PGH, we have respirators, but kulang-kulang kami sa attachment. Hindi namin malaman kung paano attachment, Luckily, there are guys already in our hospital who are into 3D printing, and one of them is Dr. Grozman. So we started helping our friends in the IM to develop attachments for snorkels, for tubes and everything like that will attach to our respirator. Imagine if there were no 3D printers at the time. A lot of patients would have died. And I think because of the little attachments that we were able to create here and there, we have saved lives because of the time constraint that we had. Okay. I'm very happy that these fab labs are all over the country, especially in Mindanao. Ang nakakatakot lang kasi, if you look at the internet, a lot of 3D printers, kaya maliit ang platform nila, kaya hindi malaki ang platform. Have you noticed? A lot of 3D printers have very small platforms. It's because it's being regulated because people are using it to make guns. Diba? If you have a large platform, makagawa ka na talaga ng barrel sa isang printing. So maliliit ang platforms para makagawa ka ng barrel, dapat i-glue mo pa, pag didikit-dikit mo, So there are things that have to be regulated, okay? And ang pakiusap ko sa mga friends natin who are head of the fab labs is talagang utilize 3D printing for the benefit of mankind, not for the destruction of mankind. And we have seen during the pandemic how we can utilize 3D printing to save mankind. A little holder ng face shield there, yung pangsabit sa face mask, kasi kakasugat-sugat na yung tenga natin, design ng face mask, and even the protectors na ginagamit natin pag nag-intubate ng pasyente. Those are really very nice things. Continue doing that, and do it with a passion.
We have another question here, pala, doctors. While Justin is setting up from the Fab Lab group, they're asking by experience on the success rate of 3D printing interventions, whether on the planning phase, how is it contributing to the success rate of the operations compared to not having any intervention at all, even on the planning phase, doctor?
Like for example, the templating that I showed you, it's very hard to do spine surgery without templating. No, we have other tools in order to be able to insert our implants very, very precisely. But those are expensive tools. Like for example, navigation. No, we have a tool wherein mayroon kami kinakabit sa buto ng pasyente, tapos by infrared scanner, no, meron kaming parang GPS sa loob ng operating room. Okay. With that, we can insert our screws, no, precisely within the nearest 0.5 of a millimeter, no. But there's an added cost to the patient. The patient has to pay 60,000 pesos for the rental of that navigation. Okay. With the surgical templating that we do, they don't have to rent that because ours is as precise as the navigation. Okay. So 3D printing is there to as an alternative. Like what I said, is a template whereby we can do other things. Okay. Meron akong kakilala, meron siyang exotic rare plants, no, na kailangan laging nadidiligan. And with 3D printing, nakagawa siya ng dripper, no? Nare-regulate niya yung dripping, no? Talagang, so lahat yung kanya exotic plants, buhay na buhay because of 3D printing. Okay? So, it's not just medicine, it's also in agriculture, it's also in your kitchen, it's also in your bedroom or your bathroom, no? And tignan mo yun, yung ginawa ng mga tao na lalagyan ng strap para hindi tumama yung tali ng face mask sa tenga. Nakaka-irritate yun, di ba? Ang dami nagkaroon ng allergy sa likod ng tenga nila. It's a simple solution and a very beautiful one. Di ba? And how did it happen? I don't think kung nagkaroon ng pandemic, may maka-invento nun eh. It's because a lot of people already have irritation behind their ears because of the face mask. That somebody suddenly, while sleeping, napaginipan niya yun, and the following day, pumunta sa AutoCAD niya, and then created something, and voila, you have a 3D printed string holder. Very beautiful. Tapos ang storya. Tapos ang problema sa tenga.
Wow. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Bundoc. And Kim,